Flyperbole,
Every time I say, I don't think it's going to be a big week, I don't think something exciting is going to happen, I jinx it every time. If only the jinx could be as good as it was this week, though. Yep. I turned to the Quigster this week and I said, hey, Quigs, we might even just skip this week because we've talked these draft picks to death at this point, you know? We've talked it all to death. We know about every damn pick, okay? And then what happens? Danny Briere goes and makes a completely unexpected trade, which we should have expected because it was June 23rd, which is the most infamous day in Flyers history. It is trade day.
Flyers Day.
Flyers Day. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter. Scott Hartnell. Mm-hmm. Some of the most infamous trades in Flyers history have all happened on this day. And then Danny Briere goes out and he gets Trevor friggin' Zegras from the Anaheim Ducks on June 23rd. No idea this was coming, Quigs. No idea.
So real quick, I do want to just give everyone a little bit of, just a little behind the scenes look. So I got a message from Steve on yesterday. So Monday morning at 11:19 a.m., minutes before the trade goes down. And he goes, how you feeling on recording this week? I'd like to get one in before the draft, but I also have no idea what to talk about. LOL. And boy, did that change fast, because I messaged him about an hour later saying something happened. LMFAO. So now we got quite a lot to talk about, Steve. And what a trade that took place on Flyers Day, June 23rd, 2025. Trevor Zegras, man, is like, I posted this on Blue Sky and on Twitter and all that, but like, he's not a certain thing. He's got a lot to prove. He's been rough the last couple of years, but Steve, if there's one thing he certainly is, without question, it's exciting. And I think if you take him off of that shit ass, piss ass Ducks team and put him on a slightly less shit ass, piss ass team like the Flyers, then that could be really, really good. And the Flyers, I do think, are building, they're getting to the point now where they're building a solid roster. I honestly think they're better than their record said they were this season. Like,
I agree with that completely.
The goaltending screwed them.
Yeah, I think that's one of those opinions that if you say this and you don't watch the team like we watch, you sound like a lunatic, right? Like if you're talking to somebody who just mainly watches the Phillies and the Eagles, and you say that the fourth worst team in the NHL was better than you think, they're going to go, you're coping right now. Yeah, that's not true at all. But it is true. Their goaltending was the absolute worst in the league. So if they improve in goaltending, that's an amazing upgrade right there. If they're not, I don't think they're done either, is the thing. They still have 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks. They have ammo to do something. They also have some cap space. So let's say John Tavares hasn't worked anything out yet with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe bring John Tavares in, and then all of a sudden you're kind of stacked at center, or at least as stacked as the Flyers get. You know what I mean, though? Like if Sean Couturier is then 2 or 3 down the line, you're doing a lot better.
Yeah, well, I think one thing, and I think everyone's agreeing on this so far from what I've seen, is that we don't know that Trevor Zegras really is a center. Like, he started off in the NHL as a center, and he's even admitted that, I mean, he said it today in his media availability, his like Zoom press conference, that he's most comfortable at center, which, I mean, obviously that's great. You love to hear that, right?
It reminds me of Braden Shen, though. Braden Shen was always more comfortable at center, and they tried him at wing, and it didn't, but he never quite clicked at second line center here either. It wasn't until he went to St. Louis that it really worked out for him.
Yeah, and Rick Tocchet is the kind of coach who I feel like he's going to want you to be able to play some of those tough minutes and really get your nose in there. And that's not something that Trevor Zegras is really known for. So it's going to be interesting. At the very least, I truly do believe that he is far superior than the player we've seen him be over the last couple of seasons. He's been dealing with a few injuries. And I just think on getting out of Anaheim, I think will be great for him. And this is exciting, Steve. It really is. And the most exciting thing about this to me is how little it took to get him. Like, yes. if the Flyers traded a first for Trevor Zegras, don't get me wrong, I'd still be pretty excited.
Like if they traded like the 31st pick, like
yeah. Like I'd be excited. And you know,
they didn't even trade their second high. They didn't even trade their highest second round pick.
Right. That's what's amazing. And so like you look at the trade overall, they trade away a second round pick, which is 45 overall. They trade a 2026 fourth round pick. So, I mean, who even cares? Like, sure, who cares? Fine. Like, literally, who cares? And then they trade away Ryan Poehling, which Ryan Poehling is, I mean, I think we've talked about him before in terms of like, he is the perfect fourth line center. He's an awesome picture perfect fourth line center. I have really enjoyed watching him the last couple of years. I think he's a really good player. And I think he'll be very good as a bottom six forward in Anaheim. If that's all it takes to get Trevor Zegras, who has a track record of making some of the most electrifying plays in the history of hockey and has back-to-back 60-point seasons under his belt as really like 20-year-old, essentially, incredible. That is an unbelievably favorable price to pay for someone who, I mean, his value is very, very low right now. And you have to believe that there's a good possibility that he can get back to what he was. And especially now that he's with his best friend, Jamie Drysdale. So.
Jamie Drysdale, Cam York, the gang is back together and you love to see it. Love to see it. The thing is, you're betting on talent, right? And you need to take risks like this. If you are going to succeed, you need to bet on talent. And that's what makes me happy about something like this. It seems like a move that Ron Hextall would never even fathom. It seems like a move that Chuck Fletcher would not fathom. Chuck Fletcher's choice when he came in was to get Kevin Hayes, who was a big body that he thought could play second line center, but it wasn't like a guy you were gambling on the upside with. This is a guy you're gambling on the upside with. His first season, he puts up his first full season in the NHL when he played 75 games. He put up 61 points, 23 goals, 38 assists. Second season, 21 years old, 65 points in 81 games, 23 goals, 42 assists. Then he tails off. He has 15 points and 32 points. But even his last season, when he put up 32 points, is still better than Ryan Poehling's best season, which was also last season, when Ryan Poehling put up 31 points in 68 games played. So Ryan Poehling, I think Danny Briere bluntly said this yesterday when he said, we like Ryan, but Ryan's a bottom six player. He is. That's just who he is ultimately. And that's the biggest thing you give up on this, because a mid-second round pick is not a big deal. Who cares about a mid-second round pick? Who cares about a fourth round pick next year? Those are inconsequential. Poehling for Zegras, and it's obviously more than that, but Poehling for Zegras is something I do every time, because you're taking a swing. You are trying to be a better hockey team. And I love this kind of move from the Flyers. I think this is the kind of thing you need to be back as a relevant playoff team in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I agree. And especially, you talk about the second round pick, especially when you have three of them. Like who, or what is it?
They had four. They had four. Now they have three.
Yeah. What am I thinking? Four second round picks. At that point, just start tossing them like Oprah. Just start throwing them away. Who cares? Give
like
them
Paul
away.
Holmgren.
Yeah.
Paul Holmgren would do that. He'd just be like, hey, you need a fifth round pick? I got one for you.
Yeah. And it's funny what you mentioned about, if like Chuck Fletcher would never make this move. I feel like if someone even suggested to Chuck Fletcher, hey, you should try getting Trevor Zegras, I feel like he would be like the meme or like the gif of the lady who's just like looking confused into like the abyss with like all these math equations going around.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
That's how he would be if someone even proposed that to him. That's just so out of his orbit. And it's awesome that, listen, these are the kind of moves that a good general manager makes. Buy low on players who have proven to be good and, get them while the value is low and then bring them back up, like it's exciting. I think this is an incredible. Yes, that's the one. There you go.
But Chuck Fletcher.
Yeah. Her, except it's Chucky 2 trades.
Chucky 2 trades. Chucky Poo trades. Am I right?
Chucky Poo trades. But
Chuck Fletcher sucked, man. He sucked. It can't be said enough.
He was the worst general manager ever. But
it's horrible.
Him and Paul Fenton. But
the Lizard King. Yeah,
the Lizard King. But yeah, I think, overall, there's just so little to complain about with this trade. The only thing you can say is, well, we don't know that he's a center, which honestly, fine. That's fine. Like, this is, even if he was a center, this is not going to solve their center issues. Like, there's more work to be done to shore up the center ice for the Flyers after this. Even if he does turn out to be like an answer at center, they still have like 3 other center positions to fill.
Oh, sure. Well, I wouldn't say 3 others. Sean Couturier is a center, and I think he proved in the second half last year he can still play in the NHL.
Yeah.
You don't want him as your top line guy, though. Is the big thing. You want Sean Couturier as second, third line guy. He can't be playing top line minutes at this point. Sean Couturier is a center.
Yes.
Noah Cates can play the defensive aspects of center. He can't do the face-off aspects, but he can do the defensive aspects.
Which is teachable. Like, that is something that can be improved upon. We've seen players do that so many. Like, Sidney Crosby used to suck at face-offs, and now he's the man. Like, he's unbeatable almost at face-offs. So, like, we've seen it. Like, it's possible. So, like, I guess in jest, I was saying 3, but, like, moral of the story here, they're not done. Like, they still need to do work to make the center ice position like optimal for an eventual push to even the playoffs, I would say.
Well, the great thing about that is Danny Briere in his comments yesterday seemed to be fully cognizant of that. Like, Briere didn't deny that. It sounded like he had more to do, and he knew he had more to do. It didn't sound like he was done. And again, he might be done this year as far as like big trades. I don't think he is, but I don't know that. But, there's still free agency, and I think the big thing is next year. It's all about next year. It's all about playing Connor McDavid at the end of the day. But that's mostly a joke, but who knows? But
who's to say?
It's probably a joke, but you never know. But, I took a few notes during his presser yesterday, and, it sounds like the price went low enough for Danny to bite, which is what you want to see from a good GM. Like, they've had their eye on this guy, and look, they've been talking, and he saw the price go to the point where he wanted, and he said, yeah, I'm comfortable paying this. So go for it. Like an eBay bid. And, I guess the thing is, like, I also think that Rick Tocchet must have been, I imagine they're keeping Tocchet in the loop on these conversations, because
absolutely
they coveted him as the coach. They were excited for him as the head coach. And you don't want him in his first year getting a player that he thinks is, pardon my French, but dog shit. And you want him to have guys that he can work with. So I imagine they went to Toc and said, like, hey, Toc, is this a guy that you think would be good on your hockey team? And, I have to think that conversation happened.
Well, I remember when they first hired Tocchet during one of the first press conferences with like Danny Briere and all that. I remember someone asked, is this still like a triumvirate of leadership type thing? And he basically said, yeah, like they want, like, why wouldn't you have the coach clued in on moves you're going to make? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like that's such an obvious thing. Some GMs don't do that. Like, some GMs just do what they're going to do. And they're just like, all right, coach, figure it out. It does not.
I've given you the pieces, figure it out.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like that's the situation with the Flyers. It seems like there's very open communication between Danny Briere, Keith Jones, Rick Tocchet, Dan Hilford. Like, it does seem like there's a serious, like really, really good communication there between those 4 individuals. And you would have to imagine that, if they approached Rick Tocchet and said, hey, we're thinking of, getting Trevor Zegras, like, what are your thoughts? I have a hard time believing he'd be like, no, and then they would do it anyway. I have a feeling he would be like, yeah, he's a dynamic player. Like, he's a reclamation project for sure. Like, we have some work to do to get him back to what he was and improve him upon what he was. But it's going to be like, to me, it seems like this is going to be a really, really fun project for the Flyers to work on this season. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like, he's going to be an RFA next year. So
I'm just excited for him and Mishkov to be basically playing lacrosse across the ice with each other.
So that's actually a question I was going to ask during Briere's presser, but I think they ran out of time. But basically I was going to say, listen, like you have Matvei Mishkov, you have Trevor Zegras now. These are two of the most like talented, skilled young players in the game right now. We see them try the Michigan every other game, it seems like. What does that mean moving forward? And it does seem like, with that, those two players, let's assume Trevor Zegras ends up panning out for the Flyers. You got Zegras, you got Mishkov. Those are two dynamic, offensively gifted players who the Flyers have invested serious resources in. And that's so different from what we have seen from the Flyers over the last, how long, Steve?
Forever. Forever.
Long time.
And how cool is it to see the Flyers embrace fun players, bring in fun players, because this is a franchise notorious for just, it's all about the letter on your chest, or, it's all about the emblem rather on the front. And, they bring in big hitters, they bring in big bodies, they bring in gritty, salt of the earth guys. And not that those guys aren't valuable to the game. They obviously are. I mean, Sam Bennett just won the freaking Conn Smythe,
Right.
But like, you need talent in today's NHL. Like, the Florida Panthers didn't just win because of Sam Bennett. They won because Alexander Barkov is he's one of the best two-way players in the game. He might be the best two-way player in the game. Matthew Tkachuk is a dynamic offensive force out there. Sergei Bobrovsky, what he's done in goal for them, they have solid players throughout the lineup. Sam Reinhart's unbelievable.
The freak.
Yeah.
Scores goals at will.
Yeah. They have talent. And that's the thing is like, and I think that's one of the things that makes me so happy about these kind of moves is Danny Briere is willing to take risks. He's willing to risk on talent. He's willing to bet on talent. And that's one of the things that I'm excited for about this draft too, is all the experts out there trying to tell me, well, it's going to be same old Flyers. The Flyers are going to go after these big hitting bodies and everything. There's is most likely going to be a very talented guy available at 6. And I feel confident at this point that Danny Briere is going to do the right thing. He's not going to be Paul Holmgren and take Sam Morin at that point. And I'm sorry I always pick on Sam Morin, but that's one of the worst picks I can remember for where he was, because it didn't make sense at the time to get a guy who was a bit more of a project just based entirely on size at that point. And it doesn't seem like Briere and Jonesy are drafting guys based entirely on size. So to see them go after Trevor Zegras, a guy who has a great upside. I mean, his peak is 65 points. And I saw some people trying to act yesterday like that wasn't impressive. It's like, not everybody scores a point per game. In fact, only the very best players score a point per game plus. So if you get a guy scoring between 60 and 80 points on your team, that's a pretty valuable friggin' member of your team.
Yeah. Yeah. And, listen, I mean, you need guys like maybe let's pretend the Flyers are one of the juggernaut teams in 6 years, 7 years. Maybe you have them on the second line. You still need players who put up 60, 70 points. You know what I mean? Like, this is people who are looking at his point totals from his 2 best seasons and thinking, that's it. Ridiculous. That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
So it's stupid. Also, to your point about Danny Briere taking risks on talent, we've seen him do it with Mishkov. We've seen him do it, now with Zegras. We've also seen it not pan out for him. And you can look right at Ivan Fedotov. He invested in Ivan Fedotov. He gave him a big contract for a guy who's never touched an NHL sheet of NHL ice. And he invested resources in him, got him over here and said, all right, dude, we're going in this with you and Sam Ersson as our goalies. Prove me right. And granted, he didn't. He sucked. But he gave him the opportunity, and he did bet on the talent. We saw how good Ivan Fedotov was in Russia, and he took that gamble, and it didn't work out. But, it's exciting that he is willing to take these gambles. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. You have to be willing to take a risk. You have to be willing to go for something. And that was ultimately the problem with Ron Hextall. Ron Hextall was super effective at clearing out cap space. He drafted some good young players. They weren't all Jay O'Brien, despite what people might have you believe. But he still, like, he didn't do anything at the NHL level, okay? And he didn't hit home runs every time he drafted a guy. Look at the germ over there. Get infected. But he didn't take risks on guys. He wasn't willing to, like, try NHL players out. He would take back these Dale Visas and everything and these, you know, trades and the friggin' Dutch Gretzky over there. He'll take Valtteri Filppula, just garbage players. And, like, he's not risking anything. He's not trying anything. And it sucked. It was so boring to watch and frustrating. And it felt like it was just going to go on forever. And while I was irritated when they fired him, in retrospect, thank God they fired him, because he would then go on to have a disastrous tenure in Pittsburgh too, where he had stuff to work with and didn't do shit. So I like somebody trying risks, but trying calculated risks, right? Ones where Fedotov, you have to pay a little bit of a salary, but whatever. You know what? We can eat that. We can deal with that. And this one, you're not paying much to get a guy who could potentially be a top 6 player on your team.
It's so, like we say, it's a risk, but this overall really is so low risk. It's so low risk and so high a reward potentially. Because again, he only has 1 year left. Like, it's not like he's taking up a huge amount of cap space. It's not like he's a long-term investment right now. If he sucks, then okay, whatever, you know.
And he's still an RFA. Deal.
Yeah, the Flyers still have leverage in those negotiations for that reason, because he's an RFA. So it's really not a huge risk whatsoever. And I just love this gamble. I think these are the smart gambles that you want. This is the kind of gamble a smart general manager makes, you know, like find players who you can get for lower than their value would have been, and then just bring them in and then let them show you that their off year or years, I guess, in Trevor Zegras' case, were, you know, like a blip on the radar. They were like an albatross. They are the player that we thought they were, to bring out my inner Dennis Green. Like,
they are who we thought they were.
Yeah. But this is just such a good deal by Danny Briere, dude.
It's a great deal. And this is the kind of thing that if you are mad about this, if you don't like this move, what are you doing watching this team? What are you doing watching hockey at this point? Because this is exciting. This is fun. This is what we want GMs to do. Just like drop off the bandwagon now if you're not pumped about this, because this is the shit we want them to do. This is trying something. This is taking a bet on young talent and hoping he pans out. And he's done amazing things. Watch his highlight reel. What he can do with the puck with his skills, we really could have something special. And if we don't, you lost Ryan Poehling. Who cares?
Right. Yeah. And I will say, so far, I really haven't seen anyone really complaining about this.
No. In fact, really, if anything, I think the people in the comments on the video yesterday were all like out of town fans who were trying to troll.
I don't even care. I don't read the comments.
I don't. Really. Yeah. When you're doing the live stream, you can't help but see them in the corner.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. The live stream, like, they're coming up on the side no matter what. And there was like a couple guys that were just like kind of like being like negative about it, but like, I think they weren't Flyers fans. So like, if you're a Flyers fan, you got to be super happy about this. This is awesome. This is just like the most exciting thing to happen. Well, obviously Mishkov coming over was as thrilling as it got, but trade wise, when was the last time you remember something this, maybe Ryan Ellis, the 2 minutes of happiness over Ryan Ellis?
I was going to say the Ivan Provorov trade was electric.
It was electric.
That was awesome.
That was electric for getting rid of something.
Right. Like as an addition, I truly can't. I guess Ryan Ellis.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about. Like as an addition.
Look at that one.
It has been a while since they've had an exciting electric addition. And this is exciting and electric, and it could be amazing. And again, if it's not, you lost Ryan Poehling. Who cares?
Yeah. And that's not to say that Ryan Poehling, like, isn't a good, like, he's a good player, but it's just,
I mean,
like,
if my entire fourth line could be 3 Ryan Palings, I'd be overjoyed.
yeah, like, it's not a big deal. And you know what? Here's another thing. Back to Briere about, like, investing in skill. We're hearing more, like, little I was going to say droppings. That doesn't
Tidbits.
Little tidbits, little bacon bits, not droppings. Bacon bits.
Just mouse turds everywhere. Our friend the rat is leaving. Our friend the rat's leaving rat shit everywhere. That's telling me that they're going to get James Hagens.
Well, we're hearing but we're hearing little inklings that not only could James Hagens, is he, like, really in consideration for the Flyers, but also Maxim Shabanov again. Like, we're hearing it again, and, like, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. He is a small, tiny little man, but has immense skill, and that's a low risk, high reward investment. Like, by bringing him over, we've talked about it before. You'd pay him, like, what, $800K for a year or two, and then if he turns out to be good, unbelievable. That's an amazing investment. He's crushing it in the KHL. Why not give him a cheap ass contract for a couple of years and then see how he does in the NHL?
Honestly, and it's funny because we thought the Shabanov thing was going to be wrapped up like 2 weeks ago right now, and it's still like nothing's happened. But yeah, I mean, like, look, he's interested in players like that. And I'm going to move on to the draft. But before I move on to the draft, I need to plug the Broad Street Hockey and PHLY draft party that is coming up this Friday. Chickies and Pete's, South Philly. Oh, wow. How about that? Sell them. Owen Wilson send you. Come down to Flavortown and eat a whole mess of crab fries with us. I will eat as many crab fries as you put in front of me and drink as many beers as y'all put in front of me. Get me those Bud Heavies, folks. I prefer IPAs. $5 for admission. It gets you a little bit of food. All right. Come on down. $5 ain't much. And it's going to Snyder Hockey, who's amazing. We love Snyder Hockey at PSH. Or you can get the VIP package where you can get a bunch of drinks for, like, what is it, $55?
Come down to Chickies and Pete's and get crabs with us.
Oh boy, you went there.
Sure did.
Ryan,
gonna be a fun time.
Quigs, you ignorant slut.
Come get the clap with us. It's going to be a really, really good time. I can't wait for this party. I haven't been to the draft party for a couple of years, so I'm really, really excited about this one. It's going to be great.
Have you ever been to a Chickies and Pete's?
I've never been to Chickies and Pete's in my life.
Have you ever had crab fries?
So this is actually, so are they just French fries?
They have, like, Old Bay seasoning.
Okay, so I have had those. They're the best. They're incredible.
Old Bay seasoning and the most delicious, like, white American cheese sauce.
Okay,
the cheese sauce is what makes it. The cheese sauce is the fucking shit.
It's very.
But don't give them the Kurt, okay? Kurt R will spill your crab fries everywhere. Not good. Not good. Don't give him the Kurt R.
Big party foul. You can't be doing that, Kurt.
Yeah, I don't know if Kurt's making it, but guess what? I'm coming. Quiggs is coming. Kelly's coming.
Only the coolest people in Philadelphia are going. Like, why
Joe,
would you not go?
Italian Joe, Kyle. I don't know if Gibbs is making it. I forgot if Gibbs was making it. But guess what? A ton of great people are there. And our friends at PHLI, Bill Matz is going to be there. So we're going to have a great time. Bernie Perrant's going to be there. Who parties harder than Bernie Perrant? Nobody.
I wonder if Gritty's going to be there. I honestly don't know.
I think Gritty might be an AC for this one, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't say.
Be, counting cards.
Yeah, he might be counting cards. Gritty's just going to be, like, cheating the entire system over an AC.
Probably.
Gritty might be drafting. He might be doing the later first round picks. They. Gritty, of course, says no pronouns that are definable by man.
It. I would say it. But
I think Gritty would prefer they. But who knows?
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that.
Gritty can't answer you because it just squeaks.
Real quick, speaking of Gritty, did you see the video of him tossing the axes?
Dude, Gritty tossing axes is both impressive and terrifying.
I laughed at the one that was from like 15 feet away because he just like, he threw it like 80 miles an hour. And it was just like, when it left his hand, all you hear is like the squeak, like of the thing leaving his hand. It's just like,
yeah.
And then it hits the thing at like literally like Mach 10.
We've said this before, but Gritty's the greatest athlete in Philadelphia.
Not even close.
Like all apologies to Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. Gritty's the best athlete in Philadelphia.
Yeah. You don't think Bobby Brink is the best athlete in Philadelphia?
if I was going to go with a Flyer, it would be Nick Sealer, obviously.
Oh, there you go. Okay. There you go.
No, it's an unbelievable video. Gritty just tossing axes from every distance. And have you ever tossed axes?
I haven't. I almost did a few weeks ago, and we didn't end up doing it.
I would go with you sometime. It's a lot of fun. I haven't done it in a while.
I would love to do that. Yeah, let's get drunk and toss some axes.
It's honestly, it's way more fun than it sounds. It sounds horrible and dangerous, but it's really fun. Yeah, I would do that sometime. Also, I saw you went whitewater rafting this past weekend.
I did. Oh,
how'd you like
Steve, it was wonderful.
I've done it. I loved it too. I did it before. Up in Jim Thorpe?
A little further. It was in the Poconos. We were going down the Lehigh River. It was about 9 miles.
Yeah, you made it up to the Poconos.
Dude, what a beautiful day. So we got there, and it was when we first got on the river and got on the water, it was thunderstorm, lightning, thunder, the whole shebang.
Yikes.
And the guy was like, once we start, we are not going back. And I was like, if I die, I die. Like, I brought out my inner Shane Goss despair. And we did it. And then the lightning and stuff kind of like went away after like 30 minutes. And then it started clearing up, and it became just a beautiful day.
That's
beautiful
awesome.
Day. It was just gorgeous. And I've been whitewater rafting a bunch of times. I did it in Costa Rica a couple times when I went down there.
Wow.
For vacay when I was in college. And so I love whitewater rafting, and it's just, God damn it, it's so fucking fun. So really good.
I've only done it the once up in Jim Thorpe, PA, and I had a lot of fun. I had two groups. My other group of friends, like I was in one raft. My other group of friends was another raft. They got stuck with two randos, and they had a miserable time. My raft had a great time, and we actually had this just amazing balance where I was single at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was with two couples. So, and they were just little tiny people. It's like sub 5'5" people over. Well, I don't think Paul's sub 5'5", but they're all smaller than me. Okay. And I just got to sit in the back and steer as the largest of the people. And I kept,
you were the captain.
I was the captain. I was the rudder. And I kept acting like I was in Lord of the Rings going, we've got to save the little ones in the back there. I had a great time though. And then we proceeded to go to the worst bar I've ever been to up in Jim Thorpe that had 2 beers on tap, Miller Lite and Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. And they wouldn't take a tab. They ran my credit card for every transaction.
Wow. I despise that. I'll be honest. Jim Thorpe doesn't strike me as a place that would have many good bars.
Yeah, but we were in our mid-20s and we were there to do the whitewater rafting, and we were like, well, we need to go to a bar because we're in our mid-20s. And
did you do it through Whitewater Challenges or something like that?
I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Okay, that's what we did it through. It was awesome. It was a really good time. Highly recommend. It was incredible.
It is. It makes you feel alive. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on to draft shit. Shit. What are your thoughts on Trevor Zegras apparently wearing the number 46?
I like it. I like any different number because I'm so tired of the same, is that why it was his first number?
He wore a 46 with the Ducks his first season. And then he, maybe his second season too. I can't remember, but he wore 46 with the Ducks. And then he switched to 11. Obviously can't wear 11 here because Travis Konechny wears it. I was curious if he was going to wear 46 or if he was going to wear 13, because 13 is vacant right now, but he wore 13 when he played at Boston University when he was in college. So I was like, is it going to be 46 or is it going to be 13? And it looks like, at least according to the Flyers tweet that they sent out, he's going to be wearing 46.
They took the time to Photoshop him in that number.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's true. If he had worn 13, what a history the number 13 has with the Flyers.
Oh, yes.
Dave Michaluk, I don't even know who that is. Claude Lapointe, Dan Carcillo, we all love some car bomb. Glenn Metropolit. Ugh. Pavel Kubina. Ugh.
No.
Roman Lubimov.
Oh, I totally forgot about Lubby.
Yep. There's a reason.
I liked him. I actually liked him. He wasn't that good, but I liked him.
Kevin Hayes, probably the most notable of this list, 2020 to 2023.
Roman Labimov.
And then finally, Adam Ginning.
Yeah. That's a man.
46, however, 9 players, shockingly. Don Biggs, loved him in Star Wars. Kimby Daniels, Al Conroy, Josh Gratton. Oh, woof. UC Timonen, John Kalinsky, Kevin Marshall, dancer, Mikhail Voropiev.
Oh, yeah.
And Bobby Brink wore it briefly in 2022.
Really?
Apparently, at least according to Hockey Ref. Yeah.
Oh, yes, he did. He did. That's right.
Well, I'm hoping that Trevor Zegras becomes the most notable 46 in club history.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. 46. I like guys going for unique numbers. Like, I love Mishkov being 39.
Yeah,
That's
like
great.
When he first came over, I remember being like 39. But then, like, now I can't even imagine him in any other number. You know what I mean?
I think it's already iconic for him.
Yeah, like it's his number.
It's his number. It's his number. I love to like type MM39. It just feels great. Like,
yeah, it's cool, right?
It's super cool. Love a unique number. I'm into it. Everybody should have weird numbers. Like 88 wasn't a thing until Lindros wore it. Now a bunch of guys wear 88.
Yeah.
Make it your own, and then guys emulate you.
The doubles. I've always wanted a Flyers player. Like obviously Lindros had 88. He had the doubles, but like in Kimmo Timonen had the doubles. I just love double numbers. Like TK has 11, but like 22. TK has 11, but like I don't. This is gonna sound dumb. I don't count 11 as doubles.
No, because it doesn't. Because the
22.
ones don't have a lot of depth to it. It doesn't like fill it up.
Yeah.
Brian Boucher, number 33. Now Sam Emerson.
That's right. I want there to be a 44 who's better.
I don't want another 44
than the one who's currently on the Flyers. I love a good 55. Risto's not that good, but
Chris Gratton was 55 back in the day.
77 is a cool number. Paul Coffey. There's a drone flying around outside my window.
Cool. You should get an interview with it.
That'd be awesome.
Excuse me, Mr. Drone. What do you think about Trevor Zegras?
We can't forget about one of the most notable 77s in the history of hockey, Tony DeAngelo. Really well-known 77. And then 88. No one can wear 88. No one can wear 88.
Literally, it is retired now, thank God. And 99 is like
no one can wear 66 apparently. Out of respect.
I mean that's Super Mario. Come on.
Yeah,
that's Super Mario.
I remember Josh Hosang wore 66, and people lost their fucking minds. I'm like, okay, let's chill.
Let's chill out.
All right, so let's hit some draft stuff, shall we? I think.
So
this is it. This is our last hoorah of
I'm so happy.
Speculating. Yeah,
I'm so happy to be done with this. I think today, let's just get this nice and succinct. So, Uncle Bob McKenzie, had his final draft rankings come out, and this isn't speculation over who's picking where, but these were his rankings. His top 10, he went Schaefer, Misa, Martone, Frondell, Desnoyers, O'Brien, Hagens at 7, Brady Martin, Roger McQueen, Victor Eklund. Yeah. Any big surprises in there for you?
I can't believe James Hagens is 7. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
And again, I think it should be, we need to really note that this is not like his mock draft. This is just rankings. And this is how he feels that like the GMs and scouts and all that, how they feel about these players in order. And so one thing I can tell you right now, Steve, is the draft board is not going to fall that way at all. And
dude, I don't know how it's going to fall. And that's my favorite part about this draft.
Yeah.
This is why we've had to talk about so many damn guys, because after the top 2, and even I've heard some speculation that Misa might not necessarily go 2.
Like Frondell might go number 2 or something,
which crazy. Is nuts. I mean, it's not totally nuts because I hear Frondell's very good, but Misa, from everything I heard, just sounds like an offensive dynamo. Like that's a guy you want on your team, but I mean, there could be crazy. Schaefer at 1 seems like the only certainty at this point. And even then, I wouldn't be the most surprised person in the world if Schaefer didn't go 1.
I would be pretty surprised.
I'd be pretty surprised, but I wouldn't be like, this isn't like the McDavid draft, the Bedard draft, even last year, or even the Celebrini draft, right? Where you knew who was coming first and there was no doubt about it. Like, you're 95% sure, but there's 5% uncertainty in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. I'm personally expecting Schaefer to go number 1. I'm still expecting Misa to go number 2. Although I could see Frondell going number 2. Like, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, if there's like a couple curveballs that I could see actually happening in real life, I could see Frondell go number 2. That's like something that I could I could see that happening. And then another thing I could see happening is someone trading up into the top 5 for Brady Martin.
That's
I really
can see it. Wild possibility.
I really could
happen.
see it. Because it's like all the there's so much smoke around him. Everyone's talking about him, and it just feels like so many hockey men would be just in love with this kid. I mean, it seemed like at the combine he blew everyone out of the water. So it just feels like that's one of the guys that some GM is gonna fall in love with him. They're gonna be like, we got to get him. We got to trade ahead of the Flyers. Because if we don't,
yeah. Well, I think it was a Wheeler piece I was reading the other day where they were doing the player comparisons. And I think the comparisons for Brady Martin were Mike Richards and Sam Bennett. Yeah. And Bennett is as hot of a commodity in the NHL as there is right now. Bennett, he's like people are talking about Sam Bennett all the time. And because he won the Conn Smythe and he knocked some dudes out and everything, like, he played a tough, aggressive game, a physical game that you like in the playoffs, but he also scored goals and everything. Like, he really gave you everything, and it felt very old school in a way. But yeah, I think people are looking for that next Sam Bennett, and Mike Richards was the other comparable there, and we love Mike Richards. Mike Richards was a winner in this league, and that's always a great guy to have in your corner. But as far as the Flyers are concerned, what's been the theme of this episode so far? Betting on skill.
And that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of talk about Brady Martin and the Flyers. Like, and would I be surprised if they drafted him? No, I wouldn't, and it's not like he doesn't have any skill. Like, he was well over a point per game player with Sault Ste. Marie this year. And he does have that physicality, which obviously the Flyers love. But from what Danny Briere is doing, it does seem like there is that emphasis for skill. And I just think James Hagens, man, I just love that guy. I like, he was literally a point per game player in college this year as a freshman. Not the easiest thing to do. He's a very good player. Like, it's not like he was putting up Jack Eichel numbers or anything like that. Like, and I do think if they were to draft James Hagens, he would need at least another year in college for sure. But I think there's a ton of upside. And I think if you're the Flyers and if you're Danny, who's been proven to bet on upside, why take the safe pick and go with Brady Martin when you could go with the potentially very, very, very high potential player in James Hagens? That's why I want James Hagens more than Brady Martin. And like, a lot of people hate Brady Martin. A lot of people are like, good, typical Flyers pick, because I mean, he is. But like, I wouldn't be totally irate if the Flyers did end up picking Brady Martin. I would be pretty annoyed if they picked him over James Hagens. That would annoy me.
Yes, I agree with that. And yeah, I like a lot of what I've heard about Brady Martin. I love those kind of players. Like, I love a guy who could smash you in the face and score a goal. Like, come on, that's the Flyers way. That's Wayne Simmons' way over there. Those guys are great, and he sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm not going to be furious if they draft him. But if Hagens is available and that's the route they go, I'm going to be bummed, because Hagens was he was like the top pick before the season happened. He seems like a special player, and he seems like he has one of the best upsides of anybody in the top 6 of this draft right now. Mm-hmm. I like a lot of what I heard about Caleb Desnoyers. Caleb Desnoyers really screams like second line center to me. He screams a guy who's really solid and smart game, really just reliable player, but he doesn't scream a guy that's going to like put you over the top. He's going to make your team special. He's going to put up some magic with Matvei Mishkov. He's going to be reliable with Matvei Mishkov, but like if Frondell falls, I'm going to be overjoyed. If Frondell's the guy that falls, that'd be amazing. I feel like somebody's going to fall though. And even if it's Martone, Martone's one of those guys that I know people are going to be pissed if they draft a center or they don't draft a center after all this, but like, I don't think you can pass up Martone if Martone's available at 6, because Martone should go in the top 5 easy. I mean, Bobby's got him listed number 3. I think a lot of people have him listed number 3. And in The Athletic had a piece talking about, they polled the players on the other players in the draft, right? And a lot of them had a lot of great things to say about Porter Martone.
I would not be mad if they don't draft a center. I would be, honestly, the only position I'd be mad about if they drafted a defenseman or a goalie, I'd be like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
If it's not Schaefer, then it's like...
Right, like, what are you doing?
I mean, hey, Schaefer, I found out today he wears number 48 because Danny Briere was super nice to his brother one time, and his brother favorite player was Danny Briere.
That's adorable. I didn't know.
It is adorable, yeah.
But listen, like, if they end up going with Porter Martone, like, my ideology when it comes to drafting, obviously, I'm a future NHL GM here, so pay attention.
I mean, Dr. T came from BSH.
Why not? Why not me? Why not?
Why can't
you,
us?
Steve? Why not us?
Oh,
why not us?
I got a lot of reasons why I can't.
Well,
but hey,
yeah, whatever. You're smarter than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah, me real dumb.
My ideology when it comes to drafting is, and it's draft the best player. Best player available, just draft good hockey players. Like, if you have one player who's like really, really, really good, and then you have another player who's like good, but he's like a center and you need a center, take the really, really good player. Like, take the really good player. And you know what? Like, if you end up having an overabundance of wingers, fine. Like, you can, there are ways to get around that. Like, you can trade players. Like, that's okay. You can do that.
You could also just try to sign the big dog in free agency.
Yeah. There are ways to get what you need. And like, I just, picking based on position is not the best thing. It would be one thing if it's like, you got 2 players who are both incredible. One of them's a winger, one of them's a center, and there's really not much difference between them. Then of course I would go for the center. Like, that's a different situation. But with this, it seems like they're all kind of, I don't see any of them being real game breakers here. And Porter Martone, let's not forget, was honestly considered a consensus number 1 overall pick in this draft for a couple of months at one point. Like, before the season started, people were talking about Martone being number 1. And so, just get the best player you can and let them develop. And worst case scenario, you find a gem and it's like, oh, okay, well, we don't need Owen Tippett anymore. You know what I mean? Right. And then you trade Owen Tippett, or you trade whoever,
Which I'm kind of in favor of anyway, because I love Owen Tippett, but like, well, I like Owen Tippett a lot, but he's maybe the most infuriating guy on the team. Because like, I thought this year, right? This is going to be his breakthrough year. He's going to hit 25 plus goals, might hit 30. It's going to be great. And he hit 20. Like, the consistency issues just drive me nuts. And he's got all the physical attributes, but he just can't seem to put it together. I don't want to trade Owen Tippett for nothing, but he's definitely not like at the top of my list of untradables.
I can totally see Owen Tippett just like exploding this year. Like,
I could see it. And I also could see him being a guy that if you trade him to the right place, he could just blow up because you put him with the right talent or something.
Right. Yeah. I want to give, like, if the Flyers traded Owen Tippett this offseason, you would not find me crying in a corner somewhere, but like, I want to see him with the Flyers at least another year, and then just, see what happens, see how he responds to this miserable season that he had.
Right.
But, because I do think he's possible of rebounding and having a really big year. Like, maybe I could see him putting up 60 points next season.
Yeah, but that speed and size combination is fantastic. So if you can find if Rick Tocchet can harness that, that'd be great. Martone, I'm looking at his numbers from the OHL right now. He had 98 points in 57 games played, 37 goals. Now, Misa had 134 and 65. Misa's supposed to go number 2 for a reason.
Right.
But
Misa's a freak.
if you look at those numbers and you also think about the quality of play in the OHL versus some of those other leagues, those are really, really impressive numbers out there.
Yeah. No, it's very good. And that's why I am so in favor of Porter Martone if he's there. It would be tough if it is Martone versus Hagens, because I am so high on Hagens. If they're both there, I don't know what I would do. I think I would still go Hagens, but
the only way they're both there is if somebody reaches for Brady Martin.
Which, Steve, I'm telling you, I'm like penning, not penciling. I'm like penning that shit in.
I've heard a lot about Utah. Reaching for him.
And I could just see someone trading up, like out of desperation, like we have to get ahead of Boston. And Philly.
Boston might even be the trade up team, because Boston, I have heard so much smoke about him and about Brady Martin in Boston at this point. Boston feels like the logical destination, and Boston, I mean, they're devastated at center right now. Like they might be worse off than us. So they need like every warm body they can get at that position.
Yeah. I could see that. I really could. I could see them being like, Jesus Christ, the Flyers are going to take him. We got to jump to 5, and then they take him, and then boom, James Hagens is right there waiting to be scooped up by the Flyers. So
now the least exciting option of these guys, but one that still seems solid, like I'm not going to be mad about, but it might be a little bit like, but why him over the other guys, is Jake O'Brien, listed number 6 on Uncle Bobby's over here. And a guy that I've seen, I don't know, maybe half the mock drafts I've seen have the Flyers taking Jake O'Brien. So I feel like he was one of their dinner guys. He also had 98 points in 66 games played in the OHL for Brantford. But O'Brien seems like a fine choice, but he doesn't seem like maybe the highest upside choice of any of these guys.
Right. Yeah. That's another one where if they picked him over Hagens, I would actually be like pretty furious if that were to happen, because I just feel like I like Jake O'Brien, but I feel like he's another one of those safe picks. Bet on the upside, bet on the potential. Like get yourself James Hagens, that skill when you can. And that's not to say that Jake O'Brien doesn't have it, but I just feel like Hagens I think he has the potential to be something really like very good. I don't want to say special, but I feel like he has the potential to be like a legit 1C one day. I do believe that.
Yeah. I think they like Hagens too. I know that there's been a lot of debate. So the report is, I forget exactly who put it out there, but there was a report that the Flyers brought in Hagens for a visit into Philly and the facilities and everything. And I know some people out there have tried to say it's a smokescreen, but I don't know. I feel like just between the Zegras move, between Mishkov, between just a lot of these things they've done, even looking at who they got in the Cutter Gauthier deal, right? Like it's not ideal. I'm sure they wanted to keep Cutter Gauthier, but they brought in Drysdale, we still haven't seen the offensive ability that we want to see, but he's got it there. We see the skating, we see the stick handling. Like we know he has it in him. And that's a guy that they could have, gone and got like draft picks or something for Gauthier, something like that. And they decided, let's take a risk on somebody with a high upside skill set. And a lot of this says to me that Hagens might be the guy, because if he falls, this is a guy they know has significant skill and they want to take a risk. I think this is not, and it's funny because this is not a guy who was considered a risk a year ago, but it's a risk, but I don't know. It just feels like you're aiming for something higher than you are with necessarily Brady Martin or Jake O'Brien.
I agree. Yeah. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Danny Briere and his willingness to take those risks. That's what has me excited about this. It'd be funny if Danny Briere went way rogue and went like super risky and then got like Roger McQueen.
Roger McQueen is the biggest wild card of this draft.
That would be wild if he did that. That would be so out of pocket.
McQueen, number 9 on Uncle Bobby's right there. I've seen McQueen going all over the place in all the mocks on this. And McQueen is all based on the fact that he's 6'5". He's a tall guy, but he's just a hair under 200 pounds. So he's 6'5", but he's not like a thick guy, right?
Right.
don't misquote me. I'm talking about thick guys here, but Roger McQueen, like that size is not something you see often in the league. You look at the heights on these guys and most of them are like, maybe 6'2", 6'3" at most. 6'5" is a tall boy over there. You're not quite Chara level, but you're pretty big. So McQueen, if they went McQueen, I would have to imagine that Danny Briere and Keith Jones are so just assured by the medical reports on him that he's A-okay. And they'd have to be blown away by something. Like, I'd be very surprised if they did that reach, unless the only way I'm into that is if they trade back.
I'm not expecting. I'm really not expecting a trade back.
I'd be very surprised by a trade back, but
it would depend
if they traded back and got McQueen, depending on what they got in the trade back, and like Hagens wasn't available, I wouldn't be the most furious. It's that is an intriguing move beyond what I'm expecting from this.
Yeah. It would be high risk.
Risky.
High risk, potentially high reward. I wouldn't at 6. That would be maniacal if they.
It would be maniacal.
Like actually, like that would be the legit dumb for them to do that. But I
agree.
Yeah, if they trade back, like who's to say? Like maybe the Flyers get approached and they end up getting, another first in next year's draft or something, which is obviously, supposedly supposed to be a much better draft than this year. So yeah, that's interesting.
Do you think they pull another Edmonton trade and trade a pick this year for one of next year's?
That'd be funny.
Do you think pretty fun?
Who was it? The Flyers and like Habs were like every year for like a decade they just swapped 7th rounders or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Like something weird.
And they always, and also like Nashville, they have a long history of like pulling weird trades out with Nashville.
Yeah.
But
I'm just excited for the draft to be over because we have talked about all this to death. So
we have talked it to death and back. Like our draft coverage this year has been more extensive, I think, than in any years past. And I think a lot of that just has to do with where they're drafting and the fact that there's not a consensus like in previous years. Like the 6 is just, everybody's at play except for Schaefer and Misa at 6. So like you truly don't know. And I'm tired of talking about it, but I'm also really excited for this draft. I think the party's going to be super fun, obviously, but also they've got 3 picks in the first round. Like this is a big draft for the rebuild right here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's why I do, even though this isn't like, the deepest draft, I do feel like this is one of the most important drafts for that reason, where it's like, I really would like the Flyers to nail this, especially if they don't end up trading any more of their picks, which I'm going to be honest, I'm expecting them to. Like you got 6 picks in the first 2 rounds. Like you need to make all those picks? Really? Like
right.
Having 4 picks in the first 2 rounds would be unbelievable. That'd be crazy. I'd lose my mind, like that'd be great. But like let's see if they even end up keeping all those picks. So.
I'm not confident they make all those picks, but I would really like a defenseman at some point in the first 2 rounds. That'd be really nice, like a high-end defenseman.
I like Krishan Aitchison.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah.
Physical guy, scores goals as a defenseman.
I like some physicality because like I like a lot of the defense, but you got to think Ristolainen's days are almost numbered with this team. Even if they don't trade him, the contract's almost done at this point, and I would not re-sign him with his injury problems. Absolutely would not.
Yeah. It does make me wonder, maybe they could figure out a way to move him, even though he has that injury situation. I wonder if the Flyers could figure out something. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know, but I think this is a perfect week to try and figure that out. And we already have a move in our favor. So I don't know. What a start to draft week, though. Trevor Zegras is a Philadelphia Flyer. Electric. Go look up his highlights. If you're not excited yet, you don't have a soul. But go look up his highlights and try not to be excited. Watch him do crazy shit like flip the puck over the net onto the goalie's back and in like a mini golf shot, like he's Happy Gilmore, Like, that's electric stuff. And to think about what him and Mishkov could be doing out there, this could honestly be one of the most fun eras of Flyers hockey ever if they get the talent assembled to do crazy stuff. We've been looking solemnly out the window, sullenly out the window, like sad Millhouse at everybody. Or what's the SpongeBob meme? It's Squidward's looking out like, everybody's having fun except Squidward.
Oh yeah, like SpongeBob and Patrick out the window or whatever.
Yeah. And that's been us for years with all these high skill guys, like when the Flyers have good guys, like Eric Lindros is the exception. A lot of the times it's John LeClaire, who's either scoring by blasting a slap shot for you, or he's getting the dirty goal in the crease. Wayne Simmons getting that dirty goal in the crease. We're not usually we don't have the guys pulling out these just amazing trick plays, these just high skill plays. So what Mishkov has done, what Zegras is capable of doing, and what hopefully, if we get James Hagens, he's capable of doing, we could be really cooking with some fun NHL talent for the next few years.
It's exciting. And God, man, I just want you remember how fun the Leafs were when like everyone on the team was young? Like they had Matthews, they had young Matthews, young Marner, young Nylander. Like it was just so much fun. I want the Flyers to be the fun, like kid team. You know what I mean? Like they're already so young with Mishkov. You obviously have Zegras now. Like if they hit on one of these first round if you hit on one of these first round picks, bring them up. Like there's this one song, I can't remember who did it. Someone like made, I guess maybe it was an NHL trailer for like the video game or something, but it was showing all the young like studs in the NHL, and they were playing the song "Opposite of Adults" by Chitty Bang, which is like that rap song. Hey, yo, I once was a kid, all I had was a dream. And it was just like such a fun thing. And I was like, God, I want that to be the Flyers so fucking bad. The fun kid team.
The fun kid team. I mean, Oliver Bonk's another name on the way. Like they have fun young talent, and there could be more. And there could be a lot more after this draft. So yeah, it's exciting, guys. Like get pumped. Like the Flyers could be a lot of fun in the next year or two. Get on board. I think we are in for a really fun era of Flyers hockey, and I'm pumped for this draft. I'm very excited for it to be here. Well, I guess we're going to end this one, but hey, come out to the draft party Friday. If you see us, come over, say hi, give us an oh wow, and we'll do a little cheers and everything, and it'll be a good time. We'll have some Flype stickers for y'all. So please come by and say hi if you're there. If you have any feedback for us, the best place is on social media, and the best place for that right now is the old Blue Sky. Quigs, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Blue Sky and what was Twitter at Ryan Quigs with a Z.
Ryan Quigs with a Z over there. You can find me at Flyperbole or at Esteban if it's for hockey purposes. Make it Flyperbole. It's Flyperbole over on Instagram and Flyperbole over on TikTok as well. So go check that out. Follow Broad Street Hockey. If you're watching this over on YouTube, be sure to give this a like and subscribe to the channel. YouTube growth has been outstanding over the past year. We want to keep that going. If you're listening over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of the fake services I've come up with in the past, rate and review. We do truly appreciate y'all. And yeah, we're going to head on out of here. But thanks so much, guys. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow.